Hi, and welcome to Origin of Concepts. Today we're going to explore Leonardo da Vinci's painting, The Last Supper. Welcome. The painting captures the dramatic moment immediately after Jesus announces to his 12 apostles that one of them will betray him. On the surface, the picture just looks like Jesus and his 12 apostles sitting and conversing on a table. But it hides much more than what meets the eye. Leonardo didn't admire Christian or Catholic religious views. He valued philosophy and rationality over rigid religious doctrines. Leonardo da Vinci was deeply inspired by the Pythagorean and Neoplatonic line, like myself, because it's the cradle of wisdom in the entire Western philosophy. And it was also from the Pythagorean and Hellenistic lines the Bible text was copied and restyled to fit the Abrahamic dogma. Leonardo couldn't express his real knowledge and understanding on his paintings. I think then the church would who knows. So he became a master at hiding hidden messages in all of his paintings. And The Last Supper is no exceptions. And it's no secret that the inventors of the Last Supper concept in the Bible narrative and Leonardo's Last Supper painting was both inspired by the Milky Way center. And Leonardo was very well aware of that. So let's take a look at the Milky Way and see if we can find the Last Supper. Let's start with some key features from the texts. According to the Bible, the scene in the picture takes place in the room upstairs. And the room upstairs is the center of the Milky Way, surrounded by dark shadows forming the room. Let me draw it for you. Here's the house, and here's the room upstairs. We could also use the term temple, because Leonardo da Vinci painted a temple or a temple hall. Okay, and to get up to the room upstairs, you need some stairs. And this is, of course, the striped shadow. So this is the way to go to the room upstairs. The stairways to heaven, so to speak. In the temple hall, we got 3 doorways in the background. The openings in the background represent the entrance to the temple, with blue skies and an arch above the doorway. And of course, the doorway or the 3 doorways represents the Trinity. This is the 3 dark shadows. I'll tell more about that in my Milky Way introduction to understand the Trinity. But the arch is here. And this part of the Milky Way is the origin of making architecture with arcs. And of course, in the background, we got the blue sky, which is visualized by this area. The heaven in the heaven. Here is the blue sky. And if you look at the picture, it's also a mountain landscape. And of course, the mountain is the Milky Way center. So here you got the openings symbolism. Let's move on. Because then we got the main hall, the temple, so to speak. And if we look at the gaps and niches between the wall decorations, they represent hidden pillars. And of course the pillars is the striped shadow here. And here you got his wall decoration. So that was the first hidden message, or a second, because the arc stuff and the 3 openings is like regular knowledge, not the landscape. So let's call this the second clue. And let me see here. Yeah. And when we see on the niches, I'll mark it down here. I'll take another color just to look at the picture in the corner. Up here in this corner, this niche, you got right here. You got what I call the first niche. And in the first niche on the left side, Leonardo cleverly painted a secret circle symbol of ancient Greek origin, known today as the neoclassical interior circle symbol. And this symbol, you know it, because it's on, you see it on ancient or classical doorways and other places. Let me try to draw it for you so you know how it looks. It's a circle. And on each side of the circle you got this rectangle with an arc. And the same on the opposite side. We can call it a modern winged disc, because this is an ancient symbol which indicated the disk light in the Milky Way center. And Leonardo he knew that. Okay, so let's move on. Well, yeah, I feel like saying read between the lines, or should I say it, read between the pillars. So here we got another clue. Okay, then we got the table and the 12 apostles and of course Jesus. And the table with Jesus and his apostles is the striped shadow. So, oh, where's my pen? Here. So here you got the table. And of course, on the table, we got some apostles, which is of course the striped shadow here. And the apostles is also the crowd, or the striped shadow also plays the role in other myths or always plays the roles as crowd, bystanders, armies, missionaries, and pillars, the posts in heaven, etc., etc. And you can watch my video about the 12 apostles to get closer into that information. Okay, here we got the table with the apostles. And then on the tables we got the bread and wine. And the bread is a metaphor for the area surrounding the disc. Let me draw it here. You got the bread here, you got the bread on the table. And then you got the wine. And the wine is of course the divine light emerging from the disc, running through the table. So the wine is the disc light. All right. And then let's move on to Jesus. Jesus represents the light from the disc, the spirit. in the center of the Milky Way, the light of the world, in the great triangle, the Trinity. His triangular pose, with his arm reaching out to each side, is formed by the dark shadows surrounding the Milky Way center. So let me draw it here. I will use a red color here, and I'll use the blue color here. The fire and water, if you're into mysticism. I'm not. And it forms a triangle. And if you see in the picture, Jesus is the triangle. And here is the spirit of Jesus. And that's also maybe the reason why someone thinks that he represents the sun. It's not the sun, it's the golden disk in the Milky Way center. And I'll get into that in my Jesus video coming up soon. Okay, let me see here. Yeah, his shirt is divided into red and blue as a metaphor for the red color of the disk and the bluish area above the disk. And let me draw that. Because the blue color is, of course, this area. And the red color is the disk. And the disk light running down through the stripe shadow. And I think that's all to say about Jesus. Yeah. And then we got, ta-da, the secret zodiac connection. Some alternative interpretations of the painting suggest that the apostles representing the 12 signs of the zodiac, with Jesus as the sun in the middle, as we just spoke about. I must agree that the apostles' hand gestures and body language are excellent indicators of the zodiac signs. Their placement at the table also aligns perfectly with the seasons, starting with Aries at the start of the table at Easter, and will also explain the mystical female figure, which should be Virgo, next to Jesus, not Mary Magdalene. Oh well, it's all the same thing, but let's keep the zodiac theme here. So according to the picture, it should be the constellation Virgo next to Jesus. And let me find my note here, 2 seconds. I must confess that this was also my standpoint for more than a decade in my research. But to be honest, I don't think that's the main purpose with his writing. He had no reason to hide the zodiac in the picture, though he could do it and he knew about it. But let's see why. Because one thing is sure, Leonardo did not use Jesus as an allegory of the physical sun. According to the Jesus sun theory in the painting, the sun's cycle through the zodiac is passing right through the disk in the Milky Way center. And let me draw that. This is the sun's path through the Milky Way center. And it passing between Scorpio and Sagittarius. And Scorpio is like here. Oh, something wrong with my mouse again. Here is the Scorpio and Sagittarius is like here. And not between Virgo and Libra as displayed on the painting. Because if the painting is the zodiac, we got Libra here and Virgo here, and then Jesus should sit like here. And it makes no sense. Because why would Da Vinci choose to depict the autumn equinox, the sun in Virgo during his time, as displayed in the painting, when the Last Supper is traditionally celebrated around the spring equinox, on the opposite end of the zodiac. So there's no reason to put Jesus on the equinox, fall equinox, or autumn equinox. And one more thing. He documented the exact intention of the hand gestures in his personal notebook. And I have spent decades analyzing and understanding double-layered and hidden messages in texts. And after reading his notebook, I did not find any clues of hidden messages between the lines regarding the Last Supper. Not at all. And to back that up, the original painting has been changed several times throughout history because of heavy damage, and no longer matches Leonardo's original paintings from his notebooks. And if you take a look at the pictures he actually painted in his notebooks, you will see it's not the same picture. Hand gestures have changed and positions of people. So I will leave that question up to speculation. And as always, you will decide what you think. My personal meaning is I really don't think that's the case, but Leonardo was smart enough to do it. And just to mess things up really bad. Those who are initiated into the Milky Way and are following my videos will know that the disc, or Jesus in the middle of the table, or the disc in the Milky Way center, is placed on a scale, right between an ancient female and a scorpion, long before the constellation were catalogued. And Leonardo knew all about this. So there's a little to think about. Yeah, you're gonna see some more of my videos to find the scorpion and the ancient lady, to take your focus away from the planets and the zodiac signs and so on. Okay, thank you for watching. Now you know where to find the Last Supper in the sky. If you like my videos, give me a thumbs up. And if not, well, tell me to go on my room upstairs. Until next video, take care. Bye.